And we have on the line, yes, it's my representative, and my special guest this morning for my representative is Dr. Andrew Wheatley, MP, the Member of Parliament for St. Catharines, South Central. Good morning, my brother. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Vernon. I'm very good. How are you?
Not well. I suppose we're better this morning because you have been keeping too quiet, man. Eh? Good to have you on radio talking to us this morning.
To be quite honest, I've been concentrating my efforts on working in my constituency. You know, there are quite a bit of issues that we need to address in South Central St. Catherine. And we
Yes.
are trying our best to just tick them off one at a time. You know, some persons wait until it's election time to do work or make themselves available to their constituents and constituency in general. You know, we have a team that work continuously. And so we are on the ground. We you know, there are a number of areas that we still need to cover. But we are very confident that, you know, today we have been able to achieve quite a bit as it relates especially to infrastructure development in the constituency. I'm sure, Vernon, that you have received quite a number of calls from constituents expressing concerns about the road infrastructure in a number of communities.
Right,
But,
right.
we have a lot to boast about when it comes to our achievements in that regard.
Mhm.
You know, we just completed a number of roads, and all of this is being done with limited funding. You know, really limited funding. So what we have to be doing is to prioritize the roads that we're doing, the infrastructure work that we're doing, to ensure that we get the best value for the money and something that will last and ease the burden and the stress of the people in South Central St. Catherine. So,
Because the
you know,
complaint that we have, you know,
thanks.
the complaints that we have had in the past is that, boy, through the money so spread, they spread the asphalt as thin as how the money is spread. And therefore, by the time you have a little drizzle now, it's all gone. So I hope they're doing a good job. And it would be nice to tell us which roads in the constituency have been worked on recently. Mr. Wheatley?
Yes, sir, Vernon.
Yeah, one other problem you need to join me and make up nice and fix the phone system, you know.
I tell you something, you know, we need to be quite honest. We need to press the telcos on quality of service. I think over the last, say, 3 or so years, the quality of service has gone down. You know, it is something that we need the regulators to address.
To deal with, right. But not to the roads, you're dealing with about the roads. You want to share with
Yeah,
us
man.
which roads have been fixed?
Okay, so we just completed over the last 3 months Sangster Lane. We did Crossroads in the Marchand Road area. We did a road in a community in Macookspel. Currently, we are doing the housing scheme, Duncanspel housing scheme. And we have quite a number of other roads that we are looking to address when funding becomes available. You know, we are looking at Lawrence Drive. We are looking at Clayton Heights off St. John's Road. So, you know, we have quite a bit of work to do. And hopefully we get adequate funding for us to complete those projects before the end of this year.
Now, I am happy that you mentioned the fact that you are able to put more emphasis on your constituency. We're now talking about constitutional reform, and I must tell you, I'm one of those who believe very strongly that members of the legislature should not be members of the cabinet, because it's a conflict of interest for one, and if you are a member of the legislature, then more than likely you'll have ambition, and your ambition you'll want to become a minister. And to me, that is not a good thing at all. Can you imagine you are the Minister of Construction or roads or whatever it is, and you have to make decisions affecting your colleagues? I have a challenge with that. What is your position on that? You have really thought about constitutional reform?
As relates to that particular matter, I'm going to differ with you on that matter because, you know, it will be difficult for someone to embrace the idea, having been cultured a particular way, that you put out the effort and you find funding, do your campaigning, get elected by the people, yet the executive, which drives policies and implements most of the programs, that you do not have a real say in that.
No, but you would have to, the system would have to change then. Would have to change.
Well, I do not have an issue with the current system as it is in terms. I think what needs to happen is that the ministers then needs to have more dialogue with the other members of the parliament, the legislature, to ensure that they are aware of what is happening and that they have some say in programs that relates to their constituency or affect their constituency.
You see, if you have that kind of system, the minister's job would be one of an administrative one. If you are MP for an area, you are the one, you have been given a budget for roads and so on. So you are the one would be with your team there, in your constituency, who will decide this I want that road to be fixed and not the minister. The minister would simply be responsible as a technocrat at that level.
As it is right now, Vernon, most of the roads, for example, use the road as an example, it is the member of parliament that usually makes a recommendation.
I know, just that I'm pushing it a bit further. You formalize it so that ministers, you see, it would be a good thing if you see, I'm not saying the United States is the best, because they have their own problems up there already, but I think it would be a good idea if it's just like you have an organization, those who are representative at the constituency level, it would be best to separate them from that, the executive, keep them separate. It's a line of demarcation which I think would help in terms of having clean administration. So you are there lobbying for your constituents, and the executive job now is to implement what the parliament has decided on. And it means, therefore, if they're not performing well, you should have a say in how they're appointed to, because if they're going to appoint somebody and you think the person is not competent and the person is not approved by parliament, they should be out.
Bernard, you use the example of the U.S. system. So the president appoints his cabinet,
right,
or makes recommendation, and it goes to a committee of Senate where those persons are grilled,
right,
and more or less confirmed. Then once that is in place, that person can only be dismissed, for want of a better word, for lack of performance by the president in the U.S. I don't believe that the Senate can recall.
No, what I'm saying, no, I don't really look at that system. I think it's out of the box. So the parliament, if you are not performing, the parliament should have the power now to remove you.
Fair enough.
You see, I look at giving the parliament more power. The parliament, for example, can remove the prime minister, or whoever is head of government can remove a minister. And I know if you have...
The parliament can remove a prime minister as it is right now.
I know, yes, right now. And why they can't remove the ministers?
Minister?
Yes.
The minister is appointed by the prime minister, under the Westminster model that we currently operate under. So, I mean, it is a very interesting, era post of.
You see, if you do that now, you'd get a person who is qualified, who is technically competent to head these ministries, not just a political head. Someone who's and the parliament would look at them as, is this person qualified to head these organizations? Oftentimes, we have ministers who, Mark, though, I'm not going to discount one's ability because you're not academically qualified, because that's another story. But I think it would open you up now to get expertise from all over the country, rather than the only, I think, two you can get from the Senate. And I also have a problem with the state where the members of the Senate are selected rather than being elected. I have a problem with that. And you know what happened the last time? The last time Parliament make a decision, it was overruled by persons who were not elected by the people. That is unusual. That's untenable.
I think we are at that juncture now where we are looking at the Constitution. I believe, though, that the scope of this review speaks more to the status, whether we want to move away from the current constitutional monarchy system to a republic situation. I think that is the question at hand right now for the government, that the government would want the people to speak on at this time. There are a number of other issues, I believe, pertinent issues they are, that needs to be addressed. But the government, in their wisdom, believes that at this time we should take it step by step and look at the constitutional monarchy system.
One thing I can tell you, is that just getting rid of the king and having our own local king will not reduce crime, will not deal with the problem of poverty. So we have to be careful as politicians when we cater to that populist view. Oh, we must have our own, when there are far more substantial things to deal with in the Constitution, and we might get the feel-good spirit. But when you make that change, and people say, well, let's change Constitution and we're back at square one. When you want to change other important aspects of the Constitution, you might find the population has been turned off completely, because we're getting this feeling now that just getting rid of the king. Oh yeah, you get the queen dead. Oh, you can get rid of them. It will solve. No, they didn't say that, But there's that feeling.
Vernon, let me tell you something. The matter of removing the king as head of state will not solve most of the social ills that we are facing as a society and as a country. I agree 100% with you on that. I believe, though, that this was something that a commitment was made on for us to examine. And I believe that is the main reason why the government is testing it at this time, by reforming the constitution to capture same. But again, it will be done only if the people of Jamaica want it to be done.
Yes,
if at the end of the day they do not believe that this is something worthy of their time and effort, then it will be reflected in the outcome of the referendum, I believe. So where we are right now, it might not be the main issue or among the top 10 issues for our citizens, but it's something that a commitment was made, and I believe the government wants to deliver on that commitment. There are other commitments as well that they have made, and I believe that they are also working to address those commitments. But let us see. The power rests with the people at the end of the day. So whether the government wants it or not, the people of Jamaica will and must decide on the final outcome.
But I must give you one thing, which I told the minister. We're going to go for a break. When we come back, you can look at some of the other good things that are happening in your constituency. And national matters is all up to you. But there's one matter which is very controversial in the public domain, and that is the appointment of one of the committee members. And there's a call. I don't know if we have carried out a poll to see if it's wise for him to be there, but it is clear that he will not be moved. And I'm not putting a position now, but if the people are calling for it, you don't know what percentage of the people are calling for it, and is not removed, that could be give the perception that the powers that be are not really listening. Because what you get when people call for that, like for example, I've heard persons say that why are we getting somebody outside to discuss it? It doesn't matter how qualified the person is. The person is qualified. The person can be brought in as a consultant. But in terms of discussing and leading that discussion, persons feel that only Jamaicans. And then somebody say, oh, his grandfather is a Jamaican. Come on, that's neither here nor there. So I have a major concern. Mark you, I'm not saying the persons are right to calling for his removal or the basis of it. It is just that if the people of the country, and a significant amount of persons, say we don't want a Canadian, then the political directorate has a responsibility to listen and to probably test the water and see if it's just a few persons in civil society or just a few church leaders making up noise. Because if you don't, then persons will feel that this whole constitutional thing is a joke. Whatever you want to say, the powers that be will do what they want to do. So that's my concern. Gonna go for the break and we'll come back. Up to you now. Don't let me take all your time. It's up to want to hear from.
No problem, Speaker Alicia.
Yeah, man. We'll come back. Want to hear more from you because I'm happy to have you because you're too quiet and you're gathered doing work in your constituency. I don't get much complaints from your constituency, so you have plenty to show off about. So you make sure you tell us about everything and discuss national things. You never can tell one of these days you might be a leader in the country. You never know. Could be the prime minister. I know not good to put your foot out there because it's a dangerous water to tread in. Anything is possible, and you start from now. You never can tell. Probably me dead and gone. Anything is happen. Anything can happen. All right. Well, we're gonna go for the break right now. We come back. We continue the conversation with Mr. Andrew Wheatley. Right, and he'll be telling us more. So stay with us. And by the way, if you have your questions, you can always send them to 816-5261. All right. So Vernon Darby saying to you, your friend, soon come back. Don't move. Welcome back. You're listening to Rhythm FM, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. This is my representative, and we have on the line Mr. Andrew Wheatley. And we'll be having a pretty interesting discussion so far. Pretty good to hear what the members of Parliament think is the MP for St. Catherine South Central. Yes, you're back with us.
Yes, brother, I'm back.
So we have touched on roads and what are the other good things happening in your constituency that you want to tell us about?
To be quite honest, I don't want to speak too soon, but as relates to crime and violence,
Yes.
we are nowhere near the top in that regard, and I believe that it is the leadership at the community level. We have been working closely with a number of groups in the constituency, especially the church, to lead the drive going into the community. In fact, we have a very active church family in the constituency, and they have been working in the communities. Whenever I go to the churches, the first thing I usually say is that the church cannot be limited to the four walls of this building. The church needs to go out into the community and embrace and try to get new followers, new sheep. And we are seeing that bearing fruit. Where persons are reluctant to go into the church building, the church is going to them, because it is clear that we also have to deal with the spiritual development of our constituency. It's not just about road infrastructure. It's not all about grants and welfare benefits. It's not just about educational support. Those things have become standard in this constituency of South Central St. Catherine. So over the last 2 to 3 years, 4 years I should say, that we have been concentrating on spiritual upliftment and responsible parenting in South Central St. Catherine. And we're seeing the fruit of that commitment bearing fruit at the moment.
But Mr. MP, while you can do your bit in your constituency, nationally, no, we have been failing there. And sometimes some of us wonder if we are scared, or if we have the political will to make certain decisions, because we can't continue the same way. Let me start by one, for example. Just like on our roads, there are some drivers on our roads who you can't help them. They need to be removed permanently. The same thing with what's that?
It speaks to the indiscipline in the society.
Right, and if you can't conform, you need to be removed. The same thing with crime. We need to come up with a system where, for the first time, same thing on our roads, we do something for the first time. We say, all right, you know what happened now? And probably tell lie upon you, you're just unfortunate. And so I believe in this idea, when they commit the first offense. And by the way, you're still doing law, no? Let me check on you, I don't even know. You're still doing the law?
No, I know the law, sir. I know the law.
I got the impression that you're studying law.
No. I'm a medical scientist.
Okay, all right. Now the law would go well with it, just stay there. And I'm saying that if somebody commits an offense, you give them, you probably warn them to look at work, and you give them all a 10 years suspended sentence. What that means is that he has to walk between the raindrops. And if him slip, him slide. What we have in Jamaica is that persons commit a crime today, and we go court and we say him pay for it. He commits it again. we need to deal with those repeat offenders. I estimate there are about 2,000 persons or so making trouble in this country. We need to remove them from the system and make them go to work and pay for their upkeep. Because what we keep doing, we punish the whole of the society when it's just left few making trouble.
The matter of addressing crime is a very complex one. You know, the truth is though is that we cannot be approaching this issue the same way and expect to get different results.
Exactly.
I have to think outside the box. And you know, while we are cognizant of the rights of an individual, you know, we haven't taken that into consideration. We need to devise strategies and policies. You know, if something doesn't work, then we have to change it and see how best we can tweak it. You know, we cannot say the same thing. We cannot be complaining about the same thing over and over and doing the same thing over and over and expect to get a different result. So we have to start to think outside of the box in terms of our approach to crime fighting. Maybe it's a simple matter of starting to look at indiscipline in the society. We need to maybe start to look at how we are training our kids at the kindergarten stage. You know, invest in them at that time for them to appreciate what is right and what is wrong and all of that stuff. So you know, it's going to be I believe a multifaceted approach that is needed.
But the fact is, you know, Mr. Wheatley, we've been talking, but we're not acting. Take, for example, in the schools, the children seem to be running the system. And what we seem to be doing is we are getting these principals and these administrators who have their masters, and quite a few of them have their doctorates, but they're not leaders. And another thing is, we have to let the schools deal with administration. Too many things have to go to the ministry. School board, for example, when it comes to suspension of students, the school board should be able to appeal such decisions. But the administration should be able to deal with those things immediately. If there's a problem now, that child should be brought before the disciplinary committee no matter this afternoon or tomorrow, and action taken immediately. But it seems that
that's what happens now. The school and most of the boards are actually working school boards. If it's a matter of indiscipline, I believe that they usually call that student up immediately or the day after, in short order for the matter to be addressed by the disciplinary committee. They usually comprise of members of staff and maybe a board member. So I think what we need is effective decision making, not just the fact that you have a process and the process flows. It is to ensure that we implement the decision taken at that level. And but the problem though, Bernard, if you put a child out of school, you have to look at it from another angle as well. That you put a child out of school, you suspend a child. What happens to that child?
I can answer you.
The child stays home or goes on the streets.
I can answer you. I can answer you that one.
Our parents must work. Yeah. You know. So
I can answer you on that one. That's an easy one. For one, a school is not a prison. So whatever, I know what I would do, but I will tell you, the school cannot be or should not be a holding place for young criminals. So this argument, we're sending them on the street, well, guess what? You put them in the street, in the schools to cover up the rest of them. Absolute nonsense. Bad boy, we are 18, a gang member, then to come out of the classroom. What we probably need to have is some special schools for those young people who then get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, they work, put their arm in charge of them, and make them work, and when they're done, you rehabilitate them. If they don't come out, you have to go back again.
You said the right word, rehabilitate.
Yes. And by the way, some of them, you know.
Out there, you're saying solicitor, so I'm very careful. So a lot of us, we thought that's what sounds good enough. But the reality out there is that we are competing with gangs for the minds of these young people. We are competing with the scammers and all those flashy lifestyles that they see out there for the minds of our young people. So that's an easy task. So if what we need to do, if we find them going in the wrong direction, according to what society dictates, then we need to figure out a way how to intercept them, rehabilitate them.
But here the joke though, you have the young ones. Why does
them to these elements?
Disregard as the troublemaker when I'm in the schools. And I can tell they can't remain in the schools. There's no if nor but. When you have a troublemaker who is disruptive in a school environment, you can't have two individuals disrupting a school of 1,000. So the whole idea of them staying there is out of the question. The next thing, the hardcore criminals, that's easy to deal with. When they commit a crime all 2-3 times, when I done with yesterday, the good Lord help you. We are, and guess what? As I've said before, we are packing up the courts with too many things that could be dealt with outside the traffic ticketing system. Why the hell every traffic ticket have to go to? Why we have to go to court? If you don't pay the ticket, there should be action which follows.
I agree with that one. That is something that we need to review. We need not waste the court's time.
Exactly. Let me give you more. Sorry to interrupt you, but let me give you more. A building is illegal. Why the hell it's going to court? Issue a ticket. You should only go to court when the person is raising an objection. That's the problem. The only time government should be able to issue ticket for almost anything. And another thing I've always said, that you need to have community courts with JPs and so on, so poor people can get justice at that level. You don't have to get big shot lawyer. So I am telling you, we have not made any serious effort to deal with the administration of justice and to make sure we run a system where it makes it unprofitable to be a criminal. In Jamaica, crime pays.
Well, that is something that I think we need to be reviewed, and we have to look at that and how we can put them at different levels. For example, some petty issues we can utilize our JPs and other justices, and free up the main court system.
Yeah, man.
So that is something that we can really look at. Minor issues.
And by the way, we have to computerize the system, So when you go to the community court, there's nothing petty about it, because if you fight or so on, you'll be convicted, and it'll be recorded. And with smartphones, everything's smart nowadays. Only we have to be smart. You record it, so if you are caught again, you go back to court. Second time, dog name your supper. What we should do is to come up with a system that after we try with you, we try to rehabilitate you and you won't conform. Well, if you have a mental case, we have to deal with you. You have to be removed from the system.
But Vernon, just listening to you, I realize that there are a number of issues that, need to be addressed.
Yes.
So I think what we need to do is to systematically approach a thing,
We need to.
We keep talking about it, we're going to find another issue to deal with. And then we're going to compound the situation with another issue. So I believe what we need to start to do is to look at it from a systematic way, take a systematic approach. Again, low hanging fruit, deal with those simple issues first. Try to change those small things. So, for example, indiscipline in the society, let us start with that.
Exactly.
So those are the small things, and then it will reduce the burden.
Take, for example, homes. You have 2 people, you can't manage them. God help if you have a third or fourth one, because that is going to become an offense. You see, I think those who lead us politically, they think that if you do certain things, it will not be popular. You'll be surprised. Jamaica's want law and order in this country, right? And what you need are social workers out there. So when a woman is pregnant, right, you must be talking to the mother and the father. If they're not growing up the child properly, action must be taken from that level. And if you deal with it from that level, you have 5 picnic, and you say, me have 5 picnic, I'm in a CMP. And you may expect me one for my, the MPD help you have them? We need to reach us.
No, that brother, I agree with you, because some get some requests. That is ridiculous, I've been asked to assist for things that I honestly don't believe falls within the purview of an elected representative, much less a member of parliament. Again, that is the culture of the society, and as persons become more aware of the role and the responsibilities of the elected representative, I believe we will eventually see us moving away from that level of dependency, and real issues coming to the fore affecting the communities, the families, rather than just individual issues. But that is for a maturing democracy, and that is where we are heading, as we are seeing that right now. Persons are more determined in terms of their politics. You see the diativeness moving out of politics, and persons are now being judged based on performance
at all levels, whether at the government level, whether at the member of parliament level, or whether at the
And by the way, Mr. Wheatley, I hate to use the word performance because, as I have told persons, we don't talk about job description. I say an MP is not a worker. An MP, the MP is a leader. A leader is required to lead. You're not doing a job. You are, well, it's a job in a way, but the way we perceive a job to be, you must give people money, you must do this, you must do that. There are certain things you need to do in terms of going to parliament and function the committees as such. But what is expected is for you to lead by your utterances, what you say to the public, what the laws, because you're a member of the legislature. Your job is not to give man food and mind man picking, right? And bury people. It's nice too, you know. It should not be that. But I tell you what, we're going to listen to some music and then go for the break. Maybe I have a long wait and then we'll come back to you. You need to come back a second time because you sound like you think different from many politicians, you know. You look like you're not afraid to talk when you want to talk. But listen, I tell you the truth, I find enough politicians is a big old coward, all of them. Enough of them. They're afraid to say certain things because they feel the party will alienate them. They're probably afraid to say certain things because they will not become a minister. And that's what's holding up back Jamaica. You could have changed constitution till God come. Until you have members of the legislature feel free to speak out and not have to watch the party whip. You have a problem. All right. So we're going to some music and then we go for the break and then come back to you. Okay, Dr. Wheatley, have you back on the line. It's now 11:53. That time has really slipped by. So guess what now? Whether you like it or not, I'm appointing you as the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and you will speak to the nation for the next 5 minutes. National matters, yes.
Well, first, I don't want that time, especially not at this time.
Well, if the people decide to give you have to take it.
Well, what I can say though is, you know, Jamaica is not a very delicate state of its development. There are a number of issues affecting our development. And as such, you know, we have to work together as one. You know, we cannot approach this development as a GLP or a PNP supporter, but as Jamaicans. And so we have to come together and deal with the issues at hand.
Yes,
ensure that, you know, decisions that are taken are not for partisan purposes, but for the benefit of everyone. And so, calling on our Jamaicans for us to work together to build that Jamaica stronger for our future generations.
Well, you have at least 4 more minutes, you know, so.
You know, Brian, I'm not a talker, what I do, I know. And so I will leave that 4 minutes for you to ask your questions that you think need to be answered.
All right, I'll ask you one. What do you think is our main challenge at this point in time, and how would you address it as a nation?
I think without a doubt, crime, no matter of crime, is a major problem affecting Jamaica and Jamaicans. If we do not feel safe, we cannot actively participate or effectively participate in the nation's business and in national development. I think that we need every Jamaican to come on board with this, you know, because we're all affected by crime and violence. It starts with the home, with the community. And so we need all hands on deck. Do not just rely on the security forces or the elected to deal with crime. We need all hands on deck. Civil society, the churches, the community groups.
But what we're having so far, Mr. Wheatley, is just cussing and tracing. Government copied one something, opposition cuss, and this one.
And that's why we need to look beyond the politics.
Yes.
Because whichever party forms the government, the issue remains the same. And if you don't fix this thing once and for all, there will be nothing for us even to be haggling over. And so let us use the time that we have, the opportunity that is given to us to serve, to really serve.
Yes.
With Jamaica first.
In terms of crime, and you're absolutely right. Mark, when we mention crime, there are other things that have to be dealt with, the discipline and all that kind of a thing. And the whole idea, I think also we tend to, without realizing it, we reward those who do evil in this country. And those who do good, they are sort of pushed.
I don't know about that.
You don't know? You're MP, you want me to tell you about that?
Right.
If Millennium Vibes Cartel, you see, right? Me could have paid you about 10 times your salary, me would be a superstar. So I'm not going to ask you, Mr. Minister. You want me to give you some more names? We have somebody who I know, who you know, who came back to this country, embarrassed this country, and he came back as a superstar. And there's one who's detained overseas. I'm sure when he comes back, they're going to have a big stage show when he comes back to celebrate his entry back into the island. And I'll ask you, Mr. MP, we celebrate those who do wrong too much in this country. You forget when one man did that on the whole of town, and the police there for give him the megaphone to go up and just tell him subjects them to behave themselves.
And it speaks to Vernon to where we are as a society that we need to put in the work and transform the society before it gets worse. And so you're not disagreeing with me. You're not agreeing with me.
There's what?
You're not disagreeing with me that we need all hands on deck.
Yes, man. Everybody on board. And it makes sense. Because let me tell you something. In terms of violence, let it be known, I've been around long enough. So no matter contemporary violence at PAP and GLP, so from the 70s coming right up. In the 60s, I think in 1962, only about 60 odd persons were murdered. The thing started to escalate coming after the 70s, the 76, and then by 80 coming right up, gone up to over 1,000 odd persons being murdered. Listen, it's like this country's at a war, Can you imagine over 1,000? Can you imagine probably over 40,000 persons murdered over the past few years? That's a whole lot, sir. 1,000 a year now, 30 years now. And we're not at war? Well, probably we are at war.
We're at war with ourselves, and that is a war that needs to end.
And by the way, sir, when we accost our colonial masters, I don't think if we check it out, the colonial masters they kill so much slaves the way we are killing our black people. That is something to think about.
Vernon, it is always a pleasure talking to you, and I want to run.
Oh, yes.
And I look forward to coming back and speaking with you at a later date.
Oh, yes, I'm looking forward to it. But your time is now up. You only can make a final statement.
Yes. First of all, let me thank you, Vernon, for the opportunity to have a discussion, a very frank discussion with you. You have always been a person that speaks your mind, and, we appreciate that. We need to continue to speak for Jamaicans wherever they are. But my final call is to acknowledge one that there are a number of issues that we need to address.
Yes.
Appreciate. But we have to start dealing with them.
Right. Have to go now, sir. But I want to thank you very much. You also speak your mind, and you don't care if you say it as is. We need more persons like you. And definitely we should have you back another day. Dr. Andrew Wheatley, thank you very much, my brother. Have a wonderful day. Okay. It's now exactly 12 noon.